Welcome back to Module 1, Money Management, and Lesson 1, Your Money Habits. This is part 2 of Lesson 1. The very first thing I would like for you to do is open up your student guide, the booklet, to page number 7. And the very first thing I want you to do is read The Case of the Disappearing Dollars. That's on page 7, so go ahead and pause this and read that, please. So there is a mystery among us that must be unraveled, and it is the disappearing dollar. Where did my money go? As we look through the rest of this lesson, we're going to discover that your money didn't go very far, but usually you spent it. It's pretty easy to catch a thief when it's yourself, right? So I would like for you to turn the page to page number 8, and I'm going to ask you to fill in where your money is disappearing to. How much money did you spend in just the past week? Or if you don't feel like you spent a lot of money this past week, then how much money have you spent this last month? What did you buy? So I want you to list the things you spent money on in the past week or month, and then use the information to gather evidence in the case of your disappearing dollars. So first, just list what you have spent money on in the past week or month. Now that you've completed activity 1.2, I've also given you a stack of index cards. One of these index cards has the word wants on them, and another one has the word needs on them. Then, along with those index cards, you have some other items like a car, internet access, athletic shoes, house, laptop, a business suit, your cell phone. I would like for you to take all of those items and list them into two categories. List them into a category of wants, and then I want you to put some other index cards in a category of needs. Right now there is no right or wrong, but go ahead, pause this video so that you can categorize those index cards as wants or needs. If there are other students in your classroom completing the same activity, you might find that their list does not quite match yours, and that's fine. Each consumer, so everybody who uses one of these items, they're going to have a different priority based on their situation and how important the money could be used in each one of these situations. So, for instance, internet service for some people might be a necessary item that they need every single day. Maybe they need it for work or school. But if I'm using internet service really just to play video games or computer games, that might not necessarily be a need anymore, and now it's just a want. So here are some examples of some real necessary needs. The needs are things that are essential, things that are super important to your health or your safety. And that would include water and basic meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You definitely need a place to live, and you need transportation to either school or work. There are probably some other needs that you have in your life. Wants are a little bit different. They're things that make life more interesting or enjoyable. But you can get by without these wants. You might love music, but music is a want. You don't need music to survive, although some people believe that they do. I'm not going to die without my music. A snowboard or an ice cream cone or air conditioning. These are all things that we can live without. Now that you've learned just a little bit about wants and needs, I would like for you to turn to page 10 in your student guide and read about Michael's want or need situation. The title for that is, Do You Need It or Do You Want It? So pause this and read about Michael's situation. After reading, you can realize that Michael needs a new jacket. There's a couple things that we see from here. He has a jacket right now, but it's kind of ratty. He's kind of outgrowing it. But he's also interested in purchasing another jacket that also looks good on him. So if you look at page 11, activity 1.4, my needs and wants, can I tell the difference? I'm going to be having you in just a second take your items from activity 1.2 and identify them as needs or wants. But let's look at what Michael needed and wanted first. So if you look in the items description, you can see that one of the items written down is a jacket to replace one that is outgrown. Is that a need or a want? I believe that a jacket to replace one that's outgrown is a need. You need a jacket for protection in the winter time to keep you nice and warm. And if you can't fit into one that you have previously, you probably should get a new one. That's definitely a need. It keeps us safe. The second item is the second jacket that looks good on you. Is that a need or a want? Now, if we go back to the definition of needs and wants, a need is something that is essential to your health and security. A want makes life interesting or more fun, but you can get by without it. Do you need a second jacket, or can you probably get by with the first one? I would definitely identify the second jacket as a want. I don't need it to survive, but it would be nice to have to switch things up a little bit. Now that we've gone through 2 examples, I would like you to look at your spending log in activity 1.2, write down 5 things you spent money on, and then decide if each one is a need or a want. So here's an important test for you to use before you buy something. It's called the Stop, Drop, and Think Before You Buy test. This test is actually on page 40 of your student guide. And here's some questions that you can ask yourself when you buy something. Do I need this, or do I want it? If I don't need it, why do I want it? Exactly when will I use or wear it? Can I find it for less somewhere else? And what will I have to give up or put off by buying this now? These make for great questions to consider before you spend your money. So looking back at activity 1.4 where you wrote down your items, practice using these 5 questions and identify if you really need them or if you just want them. I do want to remind you that it is okay to want things and buy things that you want. It's totally fine, but remember, when we're looking at good money habits, we don't always need to buy the things that we want. It's nice to want things, but we don't always need to buy them. Sometimes waiting can be more enjoyable as well. In fact, I would argue that waiting is probably one of the smartest moves for you. And for you to understand just how great waiting can feel, go ahead into your student guide to pages 8 and 9 and read about why waiting is the smartest move. Did you actually know that teens typically spend an average of $18.50 a week? Just an interesting fact for you as you read through pages 8 and 9. I hope now that you've read through the why waiting is important, that you realize that waiting isn't a punishment. It's not an awful thing to wait. So go ahead and turn to page 10, activity 1.3, why wait? There are benefits to waiting to buy something. I want you to think of 2 or 3 reasons right now why it would be okay to hold off on a purchase. So one reason that's already listed is if you don't spend the money now, you'll have that money on hand if something more important turns up. I would like for you to think of 2 or 3 reasons. You can use the information on pages 8 and 9 to help you find those reasons. But write down 2 or 3 more reasons why waiting can be a good thing. I think one reason to wait is because it really does give you time to think about your purchase. Just like these 5 questions can help you before you buy stuff, if you wait just a little bit longer, you can really think about how is this purchase going to benefit me later. So taking the time to think, buying things wisely. If it's winter time and I see this really cute tank top on sale, well, I don't really need a tank top in the winter. If I can wait just a little bit longer to buy it, 1, it might go on a better sale, and 2, if somebody else does buy it, it'll be okay because I really didn't need it at that time. So waiting and thinking before you purchase is a great reason to wait. That is all this second part of this lesson is going to cover. The next time we meet together, we'll be talking about our values and we'll be doing a spending survey. So just be prepared for that the next time we meet.